Putting seeds in the soil will grow a beautiful fall garden, right? You may have experience growing a garden in the spring and summer months, but do you have that experience in the fall and winter months? It sounds easy, but do you know what crops you can grow? Do you know when your frost dates are? Do you know what growing zone you are located in? Do you know that just a couple of weeks planting late can ruin your harvest? The first step for a successful fall garden is knowing your frost date in the fall so that your timing for planting is perfect. This can be found by Googling first average frost date and then adding your zip code. This will give you a date. Count backwards from this date to find when you should plant your fall crops. The second step is knowing your growing zone. The warmer your climate is, the higher the number is. If you live more north, your growing zone may be a small number, whereas the more southern you are, the higher the number will be. To find this, Google growing zone and then add your zip code. The third step is knowing the specific crops you can grow in your growing zone. Don't expect to grow tomatoes or cucumbers or peppers in a colder climate. To find what crops are good for your growing zone, Google fall crops and add your zip code. A website that I have found very helpful is called gardenate.com. The fourth step for a successful fall garden is knowing if you should directly sow seeds into the ground or if you should start them indoors and transplant them into the ground as a seedling. The fifth step is knowing how much water each plant needs. Of course, seeds need a lot of water for germination. However, after it begins to grow, it may not need that much water. Understanding this can help your plants grow and be successful. The sixth step is knowing how much sun each plant needs. Some plants may need partial sun, whereas some plants may need full sun. Understanding this can also help your plants grow and be successful. So, what are some examples of cool weather crops that you might be able to plant? How about cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, kale, turnips, kohlrabi, snow peas, carrots, lettuce, arugula, radishes, parsnips, collards, garlic, and potatoes? Let's take a look at each one. You will want to start cauliflower indoors 10 to 12 weeks before the first frost date. Once it is established, it will be hardy, but you may still want to protect it once the frost comes. Cabbage needs 6 to 8 weeks before the first frost date to reach maturity. Cabbage becomes sweeter when grown in cool weather. Broccoli that matures in cooler fall months produces heads that taste sweeter than ones that are grown during the summer months. It should be sown in the ground directly 10 to 12 weeks before the first frost date. You can also start broccoli inside 15 to 17 weeks before you are ready to plant it outdoors. Kale and turnips needs 8 weeks before the first frost date and should be directly sown into the ground. Kohlrabi should be sown indoors 12 to 14 weeks before the first frost date and transplanted outdoors 6 to 8 weeks before. Snow peas are similar, however, they should be directly sown into the ground 12 weeks before the first frost date. You should directly sow carrot seeds into the ground 10 to 12 weeks before the first frost. If you wait to sow them too late, they will grow, but the roots will be very small. There are certain varieties of lettuce that can grow in warmer months. However, most do well in cooler conditions. Lettuce needs to be out of full sun and should be planted 6 to 8 weeks before the first frost. Arugula should be planted 4 to 6 weeks before the first frost, while radishes only take 3 to 4 weeks. Parsnips should be directly sown 12 weeks before the first frost date. They should be harvested after the first frost because it will improve their flavor. Collards should be planted 14 to 16 weeks before the first frost date, and they are sweeter after the first frost. Garlic is an easy crop to grow. I always go by the holiday rule, which is plant garlic around Halloween and harvest them around Independence Day. Potatoes can be planted in the fall, and they will lay dormant in the soil over the winter. They need very well-draining soil so that they do not rot. In the spring, when things warm up, they will begin to grow. The key here is to make sure that they do not freeze in the ground. Extra mulch may be needed to insulate them, depending on your growing zone. Fall gardening may seem simple at first glance, but there are major concepts you need to understand before undertaking this homesteading adventure. Those who have dabbled in fall gardening know that achieving a bountiful harvest requires more than just basic planting. I do hope that this has helped you understand fall planting, and I encourage you to begin growing outside of the warmer months. Enjoy the rewards of your labor. SHTF, Survival Homestead Teaching Farm, thanks you for watching this video. Please continue to help us help you by liking, sharing, and subscribing.